Sorry, I meant to do it before I got here.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, bienvenidos. Meeting is called to order at 5 o'clock. So this is the portion of our meeting designated for comments from the public about matters related to the closed session agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 20 minutes allocated for a particular item or topic. To address the governing board, members of the public must have submitted a completed speaker card to the clerk of the board before the closed session portion of the meeting began. Do we have any speakers?
Not at this time.
Okay. So then we can adjourn into closed session at 5:01 p.m.
Connie, after the board meeting, can I have 2 minutes of your time? Are you able to?
I'm
Put it on my bill.
I'm not free.
Just put it on my.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Is this you, the board here?
For the summer, I'm one job. I don't. Another job doing working something. It makes it harder. Well, but it is. Yes, it is. And especially at this time.
All right. Sorry. Good evening. Welcome. Buenas tardes. Bienvenidos. Hanik Masanir, bienvenidos para mi escuela. The board has returned from closed session and will reconvene into open session at 6:03 p.m. During closed session, under item 4A, Ms. Lundin moved to approve a settlement agreement with the classified employee, which was seconded by Ms. Fish. The board unanimously approved the motion with a 5-0 vote. The agreement includes the employee's resignation and compensation through the end of the school year. On to the flag salute, which will be led with a student presentation, led by student leaders from the Migrant Summer Program.
Good evening, board members, district leaders, and community members. I am Axel Salmeron. I am a rising 5th grade student leader who attends the Migrant Education Summer Program offered by FUESD. I am excited to be here this evening with my fellow students and as an opportunity to share information about the migrant multiverse and sharpen my public speaking and leadership skills. At this time, I invite you to stand up, place your right hand over your heart, and join me in the reciting Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. My name is Camila Guzman. I am in 6th grade. I will be leaving Mayales after 7 years of learning and preparing for the future. The Migrant Multiverse started on Monday and will continue through June 28th. And we just finished our school year last Friday. Yes, we really like to come to school. There are just over 130 students in attendance, and we meet on the Mayales Elementary campus. We start at 8 a.m. and go till 12:15 p.m. Some students stay after school with ELO, and 45 students have signed up for swimming lessons at the Boys and Girls Club. That's so cool.
Happy summer. I am Rafael Aguilar Ramos, and I will be in 7th grade in August. Some people may not be familiar with the Migrant Education Program in California. We are students who, due to our parents' work, may change schools during the year, often crossing school district and state lines to follow work in agriculture, fishing, dairy, or the logging industry. We remain eligible for 3 years after a move. The Migrant Education Program in FUESD provides high quality educational programs to support the academic growth of eligible students.
Hello, it's me again. As I mentioned earlier, I will be in 7th grade in August, starting at a new school at Potter Junior High. But before I get there, this summer I'm enjoying the Migrant Education Summer Program. This multiverse program is going to keep me interested during the summer. The multiverse program is based on reading and writing experience. We enjoy reading corners in our classroom and have literacy activities every day. We will have fun in PE, music, art, and STEAM. We will also expand our knowledge in the multiverse, where we will learn all about mythological verse, dragons, unicorns, cyclops, goblins, and fairies. Land before time verse. Neanderthals, also known as cavemen, dinosaurs, megalodon, and woolly mammoth. The Wild West verse, life in the Wild West, adventures, and lots of challenges. Futuristic verse, robots, artificial intelligence, extraterrestrials, and space. The last 2 days, all the verses will collide, and we will all experience the multiverse.
Me again. Thank you for the opportunity to share about our migrant summer school. Even though FUESD might seem like a small district to some, we make a big impact across the state. In March, during the 42nd State Migrant Parent Conference, Mr. Oscar Caranapio, a teacher at Mayales Elementary, was a keynote speaker alongside former migrant education student Mrs. Jackie Reyes. Mrs. Reyes is now a teacher at Mayales and was named Migrant Alumni of the Year. Did you know my mom, Mrs. Lupita, was named as Parent of the Year for her work as the RPAC representative? Congrats, Mom. My fellow students and I want to thank you for all the opportunity to discuss the migrant education program and our summer activities. We wish you a happy and exciting summer. Thank you.
All right, before we let you back into the audience, I would love to give each of you an award for your leadership. Rafael, come on over. Give a round of applause. Go back. Nice job. Good job. All right, and Axel, come on over. And Camilla, come on over. Maybe our migrant teacher here?
Yes.
Dr. Curcio, come on up. Let's think of all of us together. Come on, Veronica. So committed and our families are so committed to education that trustees, that they come to school. I mean, we had school went out on Friday, and then the kids were right back in school this week. And they're working hard, they're focused on their education, and I'm just so impressed with the work ethic. I also had an opportunity to work with the migrant education program, and I've gone to some of the parent meetings throughout the year. And I want to share with you that at the parent meetings, our parents are so committed to supporting the education of their children. It's really impressive. We've got large groups of parents that come. Sometimes it's hard to get parents to come, right? But the migrant parent group comes every time, and they're always amazed. It's been, I really appreciate the educational experiences that the team has offered, but I just do know that we can't do this without our parents. And I really feel like our parents that qualify for this program, and the teams that qualify, are extremely dedicated to the education of their children. And I just want to thank you for that partnership and support that you provide. They're pretty amazing, and they're going to be, they're going to be the leaders. They're going to be looking for the teams right up here to take over for us when we retire. And I'd be really happy about that. How the leaders that we are today.
Can I just echo that? I was so impressed by the three of you. You were totally amazing. I can't think of another adult who would have done a better job than you. You are so comfortable in your role as leaders, and we're so grateful to you for showing us how incredible our students are. So thank you, and you can have one of our seats when you're old enough to sit back here, because we would love to have your leadership here, so thank you.
All right, we'll move on with our agenda for today. So it is recommended the governing board approve the minutes of the May 9th, 2024 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion? Thank you. A second? Thank you. Any comments? And I will call for a vote. Trustee Golbeck? Aye. Trustee Fish?
Aye.
Trustee McBride?
Aye.
Trustee Landine?
I wasn't there, so no vote.
I vote aye, so that motion passes. Hearing session. This is the portion of our meeting designated for comments from the public about matters not on the agenda but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Should individuals wish to comment on items on the present agenda, they may also do so during this portion of the meeting or at the time the item is considered by the board. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, with a maximum of 20 minutes allocated for a particular item or topic. While the Brown Act allows the board to hear issues within its jurisdiction from the public that are not on the agenda, it only allows the board to respond in a very limited manner, such as providing direction to staff. If the board were to have more than this type of brief discussion on an item not on the agenda, it could be a violation of the Brown Act's rules for posting the agenda. To address the governing board, members of the public must have submitted a completed speaker card to the clerk of the board before the open session portion of the meeting began. Ms. McBride, do we have any speakers?
We do not have any speakers.
Okay. With that, we can move on to our report from the base liaison. Dr. Paul, do you have a report to share?
I have two pieces of good news, some exciting news for the base. First of all, this month we are going to have a new command general. General Nick Brown will assume command on the 27th of June. It's really exciting for us to do this. I think not only would he be the commanding general of Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, but also of the region, the other bases and stations across the West. And then Prince Places. General Woodward, the other bit of exciting news, has been selected to be the commanding general of the Marine Corps Installation Command. All of the bases and stations in the entire Marine Corps. So that's very exciting for him and his family, of course. I think it's exciting for us because for the district and this report that the district provides, so that's going to be your frame of reference for the assessment and the amazing support that this community has provided the Glencoe community over the years. So I just wanted to share that news with you. That's what we'll be taking place in the community. And throughout the year, there are opportunities to meet with the
Great news.
And then, thank you for that. We can continue with reports from the board. How about we begin with Trustee Goldbeck?
So my children are at May Ellis, and I got to go to back to school night and open house, and the sense of what we do here really lands when you see these children and these families, diversity, and the excitement, but also the like, we're going to live next year. Every year, there's a new evolution for these families. That then dovetails into this next piece, which is the facilities update. I got an opportunity to meet with Monica, our superintendent, and her staff to talk about the facilities update plan. And it looks like now is the time to really start to come together and understand the priorities that the community has in conversation with the district and come up with a plan that's going to help us modernize these facilities for our students and our families, especially in areas where there's critical needs. So I'm excited about that work getting started and hope that we can support that.
Thank you. Trustee Fish?
Yes, I got to go to the open house, or that's what it's called, right? At San Onofre with Superintendent Hazel. And it was fun doubly for me, not only to see the classrooms and the enthusiasm of the families, the kids, and the teachers, but I hadn't been there to see the new facility. So it was like I was in a brand new place. It was just so, because it is to me. Anyway, it was just wonderful to be there, and it was great. And so many families that were there. It was fabulous. And then I had a very funny experience. I went to the open house for the new office for the Boys and Girls Club. And there were several teenagers there, and this one go, I know you. And I said, oh, really? She said, yes, you were a speaker at Potter. And I can tell you what you talked about. I loved you. So be careful what you say wherever you go.
Thank you. Trustee McBride?
Well, I got to join some of the board members in the cabinet on going to celebrate the award ceremony for the teachers and the certified and the classified. And I also got to join in with Trustee Fish and some of the cabinet to go over the budget and those. That was a very maybe it's intense and very informative. And so to do those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lindy?
I had the privilege of being at the promotion ceremony at Mary Fay Pendleton. That's one of always the base promotions are some of my favorites because they're small groups and the entire family is always there. And it's so clear how different the life is for our students on base. About a third of them were planning to move, being sent out. And these kids are so comfortable in their leadership role. At a prior promotion, one of the students said, we are all different because we have learned how to be adaptable and strong and friendly and outgoing. And you really feel that when you go on base and you see something like that promotion ceremony, not to mention the kindergartners are to die for when they sing. They're so cute. And then from there, that small little ceremony to what feels to me like one of the biggest community events in Fallbrook with all of the multi-generational families that come to the Potter promotion. The whole arena is absolutely packed. And you can see grandmothers and grandfathers and aunts and uncles and little kids and big kids and babies. And our 400 plus students are there. And to me, that's what Fallbrook and that's what this district is all about. It's all of our families and all of our kids and all of our staff coming together on this journey. So, you know, I know a lot of our staff are out on vacation, but every single person who works in this district gets credit for how well our kids do, because it is a joint effort, from school bus drivers to you know, kitchen workers, to people who are secretaries at the desk, to teachers and counselors. It really does take all of that to bring our kids to Potter. So they're then ready to go to the high school, which is, I guess, it was just picked by U.S. News and World Report as one of the top high schools in the country. So Fallbrook is coming. We're very excited.
Great, thank you, thank you. I did have an opportunity to attend open house at May Ellis as well. Also the International Dance Festival that happens at May Ellis every year. There were some dances, some performers from partner school in Tijuana that attend. So they had their dress, the formal dress was really beautiful, very spectacular, and of course all the students also you know, showed off all their great dances. It was a great event. And I believe they are renaming the festival after the teacher there that retired, Miss Dupree, right? So the Lord Dupree International Dance Festival, I believe it's what they're gonna be calling it from this point forward. So that was an awesome event. And congratulations to all of our grads, all of the students advancing to the next grade, all of our students from Potter and our 2 base schools as well. So this is a good time of year. This is happy, fun time of the year to be a part of. So I just want to give a congrats to all our parents in our district as well. And I want to end with this little announcement. So I serve on the what's called the CSA 81, County Service Area 81. It's our committee that advises San Diego Parks and Rec, and we oversee parks in Fallbrook, Rainbow, and also down by Horse Creek, the new parks that will be coming in. And there will be a star party this Saturday at Rainbow Park. I don't know if anyone's been to Rainbow Park. It's a beautiful. It's my favorite park. It has a great big turf there, and it will be this Saturday, beginning from 6:30 to 9:30, or starting at 6:30, will last to 9:30. There will be astronomers from the Temecula Valley Astronomers Association, and they bring their telescopes. Right? So anyone that comes can check out planets, galaxies, nebulas, all the fun stuff, right? I hope so. So let's hope for good weather. Yeah. So last time they tried to do one a few months ago, and it was not good weather. So let's hope we have a nice clear sky. Just wanted to give that mention. With that.
Thank you. Since my last update, I've been with all of you, and we've been celebrating like crazy all across the district. So it started with celebrating the Teacher of the Year and the Employee of the Year, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to our HR department who took that on this year and just did some amazing work. I felt like it was a celebration that was worthy of the staff. I loved there were balloon arches and blue carpet and photo ops and beautiful charcuterie dessert bar, and we really wanted to treat our employees, and it felt like a really special occasion, and so I was really excited to be part of that. We also had staff appreciation during that time, and then of course promotions, and that was, for me, just something I really loved and cherished that time. I cried at both Sano and at Mary Fay. Actually, I cried at all 3, let's be honest. With the little ones, Suzanne was talking about, the little kindergartners sang to the 8th graders, and they sang the Marine Corps hymn and ended up with like, hoorah! And it was, the Marine cheer, and it was just moving and fantastic. And as I talked to the parents, as they were looking at the kindergartners, it felt like just yesterday that their 8th graders were kindergartners. And so it was just really special to have the little ones presenting at the graduations. And our student speakers were amazing. I mean, they could stand up next to any keynote paid university speaker. They did just an amazing job, were so inspirational and talking about, giving inspiration to their fellow students and other students that were promoting. So I just was just so excited to be there and appreciated the celebration. I want to share with you and invite everybody to, and anyone in the public and also all of our trustees. We're doing an open house at the Duluth Schoolhouse. As you know, Scott Gordon is retiring after over 30 years, and we wanted people to have an opportunity. This is a multi-generational program, so Scott has taught, and people have gone through Duluth's, grandparents, parents, and children. And so we wanted to have just an opportunity on June 12th from 2 to 3:30. Come down to the Duluth Schoolhouse, say a big heartfelt farewell to Scott, who promises he won't go far and he'll still connect with us, but to come out and see the program and just give him a fond farewell. I was going to celebrate the migrant kids program kids did a great job, so I was just wanting to share that part of one of the students shared that we had 55 students sign up for swimming lessons at Boys and Girls Club, and so we also, Lily organized, we bought bathing suits and towels and little backpacks so that the children could fully participate in that program. So that was just we're really excited to see how many students took part in that. We've got ESY going as well, and that's in session right now at La Paloma and SOS. So everybody's saying, have a great summer, but we're all here and at the district office, and the team and the staff are just have kicked off amazing programs. And I want to give a plug to our Super Summer Camp, which starts July 8th to July 26th. And there are still spots available for families who are interested and able to join. The camps this year are being held at La Paloma, at Mary Fay Pendleton, and at Potter. And another plug for Potter, it's a really great opportunity for our rising 7th graders to get on the Potter campus early. They'll know where the classrooms are and where the library is and where the cafeteria is and where the bathrooms are, and already get a chance to meet other children and start to make friends over the summer. And we know that our junior high kids are old enough often where parents, as they're working, may be able to leave their children at home. But we want to tell the kids, get off your video games. Tell the parents, get off the video games. Send them to our Super Summer Camp because it's amazing. It's a sports themed camp and a STEAM camp, and it's not your traditional summer school. We feel like it'll be a great way for kids to make friends and to have a wonderful first start at Potter. So, but space available at all 3 schools, and there's a morning session that goes from 8 to 12, and then for families that need the after-school care to go later, there are still spaces available in some of the programs.
And how late does the ELO program go after the Super Summer Camp?
I'm phoning a friend in the audience. Oh, I think she was asking the time.
After 12 noon, if it goes from 8 to noon, the wraparound, yes. 5:30. Thank you.
So again, a great service, and it's free. I keep telling everyone it's free, it's free, it's free. It's something that we really invest in, and it's something that we are excited to be able to offer to our families.
And it's worth it to see some of the teachers leading the sports programs because they are awesome and the kids are so serious. They had a group of girls that were competing, and I remember the teacher saying to me when I was watching last year, he said, when I got these girls here yesterday, they didn't want to do this at all. And today, now that they're playing, they are really into it. I mean, it's there are all kinds of leadership opportunities.
Yes.
And academics is not the only one. Personal growth is the kind of thing, and just having an amazing fun time. So I agree with you. I think if someone can enroll their students, it's once in a lifetime. They have so much fun, and it's so well run. It is incredibly well run. I mean, just lots going on, and it's all coordinated.
And I'll be sending all the board members an invitation. We're going to be setting up like we did last year, where we did some walkthroughs through the program. So we'll be offering a few different days throughout the summer for you to come in and have an opportunity to see it in action. So hope you can join us.
All right, thank you for that. So we can move on to educational services. At this time, we are opening public hearing 2024 to 2027 Local Control and Accountability Plan. Do we have any speakers? Oh, it doesn't look. No, I didn't think so. Okay. So I'm now closing the public hearing. That'll bring us to our presentation. Mrs. Tabga Bustani, Assistant Superintendent of Education Services, will provide an overview of the 2024-2027 Local Control and Accountability Plan, the 2024 LCAP Annual Update, and the 2024 LCAP Federal Addendum.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Hazel, Board Trustees, and the Fallbrook community. It is both an honor and a privilege to be sharing with you our 2024-2027 LCAP, Local Control Accountability Plan, as a first read. I truly am excited to share this plan with you. This evening, the overview will include our engagement process, our timeline, a brief budget overview, the federal addendum, which is in your binder, and our goals and actions. The 2024-2027 LCAP has been thoughtfully designed and crafted to address the rich and varied needs of the students we are honored and proud to serve here in Fallbrook. This plan is for our children. We serve 5,124 students from preschool to 8th grade. When we say each and every student matters, we mean that we consider their unique needs. 6% are in the migrant program, 27% are English language learners, 77% of our students live in poverty. 18% of our students are identified as having unique learning needs, 31% are from military-connected families, and 11 students are reclassified. This plan was developed to ensure the success of each and every one of the 5,124 students. Just a little bit of background information regarding the LCAP. It is a 3-year plan that describes the goals, the actions, the services, and the expenditures to support positive student outcomes that address both state and local priorities. Our LCAP goals are aligned with the 8 priorities to help our students succeed. These 8 priority areas are reflective of our belief that many factors, both inside and outside the classroom, impact student learning. This graphic here reflects a cycle that a district goes through each year when developing the LCAP and or reporting out progress. You can see by the arrow where we are. I personally love this graphic because it illustrates that the LCAP is a cyclical, continuous cycle where we receive input, where we reflect, where we refine based on the data. The voice of our community is very important to us. As we developed the draft, we gathered input from educational partners. We had a community forum at each and every school. We collaborated with parent groups, our district English language advisory committee, our district advisory committee, school site councils, and PTAs. We engage with our unions and our community members, and in addition to in-person sessions, we conducted a comprehensive online survey and also posted the LCAP on our website. All of that input, all of that feedback led to 4 goals. Goals 1, 2, and 3 remain the same, and our 4th goal is our equity multiplier goal. So goal 1 is focused on academics, goal 2 is on wellness, goal 3, engagement, and the 4th new goal, the equity multiplier goal. We write a federal addendum that supports and builds on top of our LCAP for our specialized student populations. We've included our federal addendum in the binder for your reference. This graphic reflects the projected revenue funding source, which is also located in your binder. Later this evening, Mr. Farias will provide you with an extensive budget overview. But here you can see 2 circles. The first circle is our district's total operating budget. The smaller circle right next to it represents just LCFF and the portion that is supplemental concentration. LCFF funds include a base level of funding for all students and extra funding called supplemental and concentration for our students with the most need, our foster youth, our English language learners, and our low-income students. The goal is to provide support and ensure improved and increased services above and beyond all students. So now we move on to the goals. Goal 1 is about implementing a relevant, coherent, rigorous, standards-based instructional program to improve student learning and increase student achievement. The board's focus on ensuring that every student is reading at grade level by 3rd grade is of the utmost priority and is the foundation for this goal. Also at the heart of this goal is our vision of building a culture of reading within and across all of our classrooms. Our goal is to grow 10% each year in both math and English language arts on our state assessment by 2026, with a 30% growth across all years. That's a big goal. Many people will say that it's not attainable, but I'm here to tell you it is possible. I personally have led it and supported others in doing so. It can be done, and we are on the path to making it happen, and we're very excited about the momentum that we've built, and we are certain we will sustain that and meet this goal. I've been in classrooms all year. I know what our children are capable of. I understand and feel the commitment and the dedication of our teachers, and I'm here to tell you that they are so capable and ready. So how are we going to get there? How will we meet this goal? I'll tell you how. We are going to double down on reading and fill our classrooms with beautiful books that reflect the needs of our students, culturally relevant books that will make them fall in love with reading. Reading in the classroom, reading at home, reading everywhere. We're going to celebrate reading minutes, books read, pages read. We have a new platform, a new program called Beanstack that's going to monitor students' reading that we can celebrate at the classroom, at the school, and actually at the district level. Every single child in our district will have access to daily guided reading, small group reading instruction every day. And every child who needs additional support will get it. With a full-time reading and math intervention teachers at each site to provide in-school tutoring, targeted interventions during the school day. Every child will have access to that. Enrichment and arts is also a priority for us. Students will participate in rich science, technology, engineering, and arts experiences. Every school will have a STEAM teacher and a STEAM studio with a teacher leading engaging, hands-on, relevant arts lessons. That is so exciting that every child will have access to that. Teachers will also be supported. They will have monthly opportunities to come together with their colleagues to engage in professional learning communities where they will learn alongside one another, share best practices, and monitor student learning by name, by need, by strength to ensure that every single student is meeting grade level standards. In reference to the federal addendum, our Title I and our Title III will be used to support our PLCs, build our professional development focused on reading, English language development, and additional staff for intervention. This is truly an exciting goal. Academic metrics in relation to this goal serve as a critical indicator of student performance and progress. The metrics on this slide you see here provide measurable data to assess the effectiveness of our strategies. One of the metrics we have is a state test, in addition to our own metrics such as STAR, reading, and Lexile levels. And now we move on to Goal 2. And we know and we believe that Goal 2 is just as important as Goal 1. Goal 2 is to ensure that every child feels safe, feels welcome, and feels wanted. And in order for learning to happen, we recognize our environments need to feel safe, our environments need to feel welcome, and students need to feel a sense of belonging each and every single day, because if they don't have that, they can't learn. Connectedness, what we call connectedness, students feeling connected to school and their peers, is one of the metrics we are using. It's directly related to student attendance, where students feel safe and connected. When they do feel connected to their school and their teachers, they actually want to come to school. They're excited to come when they feel that they belong. This is our baseline of student perception of 5th grade and 7th graders who take the California Healthy Kids Survey. That's what this survey is reflective of. This is one of the metrics we use. However, if students feel positive about school and if they come, this also supports decreasing chronic absenteeism and increasing attendance at school, which are 2 more metrics. So you can see our baseline is 70% of our students feel connected. Our 5th graders feel connected in school. Our goal by 2027 is to increase that to 80%. 48% of our students in 7th grade feel connected, and our goal is 60% by 2027. Our schools are phenomenally resourced to achieve these goals and address the needs of our children. In 2024-2025, we will have a full-time counselor, full-time licensed vocational nurse, full-time behavior tech, full-time psychologist, and every school will have a social worker. 4 schools will have a part-time, and 4 schools, with the support of our community schools grant, will have a full-time social worker. In addition, teachers will be incorporating daily social emotional lessons within their instructional day. Through close monitoring with metrics such as chronic absenteeism, panorama surveys, and the California Healthy Kids Survey, we strive to create learning environments where students are thriving academically and emotionally. And now we move on to Goal 3. Our community and our families matter to us, so much so that we have a goal dedicated to it solely. Goal 3 focuses on enhancing strong family and community relationships that promote engagement, collaboration, and authentic partnerships. And all of this is in service of impacting student outcomes. Because when we work together, when we collaborate, we can make a huge, significant difference on the lives of our children. On this slide, you will see the data from the District Annual Needs Assessment designed by our parent advisory groups, our District Advisory Committee, and our District English Language Learner Advisory Committee. In 2024, 91% of our parents report that their school provides opportunities for parents to share ideas and have voice. Our goal, we're going to strive higher, is to have 95% or higher of our parents report that their school provides opportunities for them to share ideas, to have voice, and to engage in decisions that impact their students. On the slide, you can see the actions related to Goal 3, which include creating opportunities for parent leadership, encouraging them to have a voice. We have a full-time community bilingual support assistants and clerks at each of our schools to support parents, to build trust, and to bridge the homeschool connection. We will ensure regular and consistent communication in both English and Spanish through websites, social media, emails, texts, phone calls, and page jar. Metrics related to this goal include attendance at events, leadership opportunities, and parent feedback surveys. This is an area we will continue to work on with the community. All title programs support family engagement and education. We are now to our fourth goal. Our fourth goal is specific for our Santa Margarita Community Day School. It is called the State Equity Multiplier Goal to address high instability and high needs, students of academic, behavioral, and social emotional need. Santa Margarita Academy has been developed for students who are experiencing challenges in the traditional school setting and require an alternative educational setting. This goal focuses on providing additional resources, support, and opportunities to achieve at the same level as their peers. Due to the high instability rate of the students at Santa Margarita Academy, we will continue to measure progress of students on an individual basis in their personal goals and local data within the year. We need to look at the outcomes each year because each year the students change. They don't stay the entire year in the program. So we have to look at goal setting and metrics on a case-by-case, student-by-student basis. Here are the actions we've included related to Goal 4, including strategies to increase pupil engagement and a comprehensive resources to address their social emotional needs, including a supportive and inclusive learning environment. The classroom assistant and part-time social worker will provide small group and individual academic and social emotional support in addition to the classroom teacher. The metrics we will use to monitor and report the impact of these funds designated for students at Santa Margarita Academy School include daily attendance, teacher and student perception data. And the perception data asks them, how impactful was your time here? How did your time at Santa Margarita Academy affect you as a student and as a learner? And we will use pre and post data. Because the student population, as I mentioned, changes often, we selected metrics that show growth from students entering and exiting the program, so pre and post. So what's next? The next steps include a 2-week period for public comment, making necessary edits. We have included a QR code here to receive feedback in both English and in Spanish from our community. We will take all of that feedback, make revisions and edits and changes, and we will obtain the governing board approval, your approval, on June 27th, 2024. After that, we will submit our plan to the San Diego County Office of Education on June 28th, and final submission to the California Department of Education. I know that was a lot of information, but I do want to thank each and every one of you for your invaluable support and feedback on our LCAP. Your dedication and your vision in supporting all of our learners is instrumental in the development of this plan. And we believe in shaping a plan that truly reflects the needs of our students and our community. So we will now open it up for questions. I'm sure you might have some. We will be back in 2 weeks also to represent our final plan. You can either ask your questions now or share them with Superintendent Hazel.
Thank you for that. Just have a quick question. So this will be on our website or?
Yes, yes,
or,
yes, in both English.
It's there now?
Yes.
Good.
It's there now, right, Seth? He's got it.
Good. All right, so that's where parents can go.
I wanted to share with the board that we translated the LCAP into Spanish, and this is actually the first year that the entire LCAP has been translated into Spanish, because we felt like if parents are going to give feedback on the LCAP, it needs to be in Spanish as well, and so that's posted on the website in addition to the survey. We'll have 2 weeks through. But we also really do feel that the plan was created based on the community input. So we feel like when the community opens it up and looks at the plan, they'll say, "Oh, they listened. We created the plan based on what we said was the priority."
I feel like this overview document is really valuable and a great synopsis. Is it translated as well and available to Spanish speakers? Yeah, cool. Okay, so this synopsis is available for our Spanish speaking population. Awesome. I had another question about the student perception baseline goals. Just wondering if there are resources on, is it normal for 7th graders for 5 out of 10 7th graders to feel connected and 5 out of 10 to not feel connected? And where are we on that bell curve? And is our 60% target at the leading edge of that bell curve, or are we right in the middle of that bell curve? I would love to understand.
I think we certainly, when we looked at that data, you see such a stark difference between how our elementary students feel connected to their school and then how our middle school students feel connected. And so that's an area that our Potter principal is really looking at and has focused. And again, don't forget, this data is very old. So our California Healthy Kids data is, I believe, a year and no, current, accurate right now. Thank you.
2024.
Phone a friend somewhere. So this is something that we definitely need to look at and work on. But I do know our school site principal, one of his top priorities is to find as many ways as possible to connect students to the school, adding clubs, adding leadership opportunities, right? Drumline, all kinds of different things. Surveying the children and asking them what they want. I think once our kids hit middle school, they want a voice. I mean, they all want a voice in there, but they demand it when they get to middle school. And so it shows us that we've still got work to do in our middle school. But typically when we look at the check survey across the state, we do see quite a significant difference between what our elementary children are reporting and our middle school students. And our middle school students are a very vulnerable population of students and very influenced. And so it's really important that we increase that number, and that they feel connected and that they belong. For us, an area of big improvement.
My question, just out of curiosity, has it been translated in the past, or was this the first time that it was translated to Spanish?
As far as I know from the staff that is here, this is the first time the draft has been translated into Spanish. So that's great. And our communications team has really been focusing on making sure that all of our communications are in English and Spanish, including our social media posts. And so the that you've seen a difference in that focus.
Are there software programs that do that for us?
There are programs that help us with that, yes. AI is pretty amazing right now. I still think that what we found is that we need an expert to be able to review the translation because it's not perfect, but it's much better than it has been over the last 5 years, I would say.
Any other comments regarding our LCAP? Brad?
Great job.
Thank you so much for your input.
Okay, moving on to business services. At this time, we are opening the public hearing for the 2024-2025 proposed budget. Do we have any speakers? Thank you. I'm now closing public hearing. And we'll move on to our presentation. Mr. Armando Farias, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, will provide an overview of the 2024-2025 proposed budget.
Just practicing. Good evening, President Favela, trustees, Superintendent Hazel, cabinet, and guests. It is my honor and my privilege as well to present to you the 24-25 proposed budget for the Fallbrook Union Elementary School District. The budget I will present to you was developed based on the most recent and most reliable data that we have up to date. Of course, we use the Governor's May Revise, School Services of California, our own district data, for example, student projections for next year, and growth patterns. It is very, very important that we understand and we keep in mind that the budget is an action plan that really details expenditures, meaning money going out, and revenues, money coming in addition to how it supports the local control and accountability plan, priorities in the district, and any other specialized programs that we have. My presentation will briefly cover the economy and revenues through an overview of the Governor's May Revise. Also, budget assumptions, which are the planning factors in developing the budget itself, which again includes revenues, money coming in, expenditures, money going out, and ending fund balances. And at the end, I will briefly touch base when it comes to next steps, the road ahead, and a timeline of events. I might be a little redundant, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands what some of the lingo in this presentation entails. The economy. We have some good news and some news that are not so rosy. For example, the good news is that while slow growth is predicted, a short-term recession is no longer projected. Additionally, the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 continue trending in the right direction. Having said that, I think that it is very important that we keep in mind that California's unemployment at 5.3% is the largest unemployment in the nation. Also, California's gross domestic product, also known as GDP, has been trending down, and the big three sources of state revenue, which are personal income, corporation, and sales and use taxes, are projected to come in at a $10.5 billion deficit. Okay? All of these together create what we call stagflation. Disclaimer, stagflation, English language learner, I really had to search that word. And what does stagflation means? It is really a term that we use when there's simultaneous slow growth, high prices, high unemployment, which really create the perfect storm. The state gets its money
in three ways. And we call this the big three, meaning personal income tax, sales and use taxes, and corporation taxes. If you take a look at the graph, you can see that personal income tax declined since the governor's budget by $1.3 billion in 2022-23 and by $2.6 billion in 23-24. Thankfully, the governor is predicting that there will be an increase of $1.4 billion in the 24-25 year. Sales and use taxes. As you can see, the forecasted numbers are lower at the May revise than originally calculated in May for years 23-24 and 24-25. And corporation tax estimates are also down. As we move forward into the 24-25 school year and beyond, it is important to keep in mind that the state budget currently being proposed is not without risks. As you can see in the graph again, high unemployment rates, persistent inflation, slow growth, possible high interest rates, and Middle East conflicts and our strained relationship with China, all of these factors really pose economic risks. But we must be aware. How are we going to solve this, or how is the governor going to solve this, right? Fortunately, the governor continues to protect K through 12 education from ongoing budget cuts. How is he proposing to do this? By proposing to use withdrawals from the Proposition 98 Rainy Day Fund. To be exact, he's proposing to withdraw over $5.2 billion in the 23-24 year and about $2.2 billion in the 24-25 year. Also, he's proposing a Proposition 98 funding maneuver to address the $8.8 billion drop in 2022 tax collections. Let me explain that for you a little better. What is the governor's funding maneuver that he is really proposing? I really believe that in order to understand this, we need to understand how we got here to begin with. In 2022, because tax filing deadlines were pushed well into the fall, and the state adopted budget was based largely on projections, not actions. If I may repeat that, tax filing deadlines were pushed well into the fall, and the state adopted budget was based largely on projections, not actuals. When the money came in, we noticed that there was a $26 billion less than we had projected. This created an overpayment in education of $8.8 billion. Does that make sense? Okay. Normally, when there is an overpayment, that is addressed within the same year. That did not happen here. It happened in the 22-23 school year. Now we're in 2024. So the maneuver that he is proposing is the following. This is the twist. He is proposing not to count the $8.8 billion for the 23-24 fiscal year. Instead, he's suggesting spreading that out into the future starting in 2025-26 with annual payments of $1.8 billion. Does that make sense? We're not sure if that is legal to begin with. So that overpayment that took place in 22-23, he wants to move those $8.8 billion into 25-26 and start paying that off out of the state funding that belongs to education with annual payments of $1.8 billion for 5 years. back to the general fund, or that'll be from the general fund to the education? That is from the minimum required money that goes to education. Yes. Okay? So what options do they have if the maneuver does not go through? Suspend Proposition 98, supplemental payments, deferrals, use the Proposition 98 rainy day fund, reductions and sweeps. Let me just explain briefly. The Proposition 98, rainy day fund is like a savings account that is created when there are surpluses, when the revenues are greater than the expenses. Does that make sense? Also, one of the questions here is, what would happen if Proposition 98 is suspended? Well, in 1988, voters in California passed Proposition 98 to ensure a minimum amount of money from the state goes into education. I believe it's approximately 40% of the general fund in the state. So if we suspend Proposition 98, which requires by law that minimum funding, are we going to hold them accountable? Or do they have to provide us with the minimum amount of funding? No. If we suspend Proposition 98, they can provide us with less funding than required, which in result can hurt our kids and our communities. Does that make sense? Thank you. Budget assumptions. Sorry. Revenue assumptions. Again, revenue, money coming in. Funded average daily attendance is based on 4,807 students. Cost of living is coming in at 1.07. Fortunately, as you might remember, back in January, it was slated to be 0.76%. So there is a little increase there. LCFF, the local control funding formula, is estimated to be a little over $68 million, which is an increase of about $1.2 million from the 23-24 school year. Property taxes are expected to be at over $22 million, and impact aid is estimated to be at $4.5 million. Still, revenue assumptions, revenues, money coming in. We will be receiving projections, of course. Home to school transportation reimbursement is estimated to be close to $600,000, and this is a new source of funding for the 22-23. Having said that, it's great that we're receiving this funding, but the total cost for the transportation that we provide here at Fallbrook Union Elementary School District, it's a little over $3.1 million. Trustee Goldberg?
Thank you. ADA, P2, ADA, what does that say?
ATA, PTA, these are points in time when we monitor our attendance and our enrollment. Point in time 1 is on September 15th, and point in time 2 is April 15th. Based on those numbers, we make our projections, especially the point in 2 time, which is right here.
Okay. But we currently report 5,200 students.
That included preschool. This is TK through 8th grade. Make sense? No problem. Thank you for the question. Expenditure assumptions, expenditures, money going out, of course. Certificate salaries include step and column movements, automatic pretty much, sick leave when our employees are sick. We pay for substitutes, transitional kindergarten, adult to student ratio is 1 to 12, class sizes going back to pre-COVID levels. We have allocated 4 FTEs, full-time equivalents, for teachers into the budget just in case our enrollment is greater than our projections, okay? Again, classified salaries, step and column, sick leave, we pay for substitutes, and the minimum wage increase to $16.50 effective January 1st, 2025. Expenditure assumptions. Again, these are our statutory rates for employee benefits, for example, employment insurance, Social Security, Medicare, etc. We're also very, very proud to offer a robust healthcare plan for our employees. For example, healthcare cap insurance. This is money that the district is contributing to healthcare. It's $22,699 per benefited employee. This is the family plan, dental insurance of $1,550 per year, and the retiree health benefits are close to $1 million. And of course, number 5, continued contributions to routine restricted maintenance at 3% level. What is the budget? How much is the budget going to cost us? This is a projection that we are expecting for our budget, the 24-25, costing us $101,778,001. Every penny counts. Right, Lindsay? Unrestricted general funds. Let me start by defining what unrestricted is. Unrestricted funds are, funds that educational institutions receive without specific limitations on how we use them. Of course, all of those funds are used to improve outcomes for our kids, but we have a lot of flexibility on how we use them, okay? These are revenues again, the LCFF, a little over $68 million, federal, state, local, transfers in, contributions, for total revenues of over $61.4 million. I want to bring your attention, if I may, to contributions. That is the only amount of money that you see in parentheses, right? So the reasoning behind that in parentheses means that we're already pulling that out from the unrestricted. And if this is a negative, it has to be a positive somewhere else, right? It's going into our restricted. As you might be aware, special education creates a big encroachment into our general fund, meaning it's very, very costly. So from the very get-go, we're chopping off close to $15 million and moving it to that restricted fund. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Unrestricted general fund expenditures. Again, certificate salaries, classified salaries, employees, supplies, services, transfers out, other outgo, for total expenditures of $64.5 million. I want to bring your attention again to revenues. If we have a little over $61 million in revenues, and we have over $64 million in expenditures, does that picture make sense? How are we balancing the budget? And I can assure you it's not magic. Well, our beginning fund balance in July 1st, 2024 is expected to be $9.6 million. Where is this money coming from? Well, some of this money has to do with additional unexpected funding from Impact Aid, some efficiencies throughout the year, and prior years rollover. So that we're starting with that $9.6 million. With total revenues of $61.4 million, we add those two, and then we subtract the total expenditures for an ending fund balance of $6.5 million. And I will address that deficit in a couple of slides ahead.
Can I see one question?
Absolutely.
And you may answer it in the slide ahead, so if you do, just tell me that. would one be correct in saying that the beginning fund balance this year of 9.6, 9.7 is a reserve? I know that we've always had a reserve, a set aside for emergency needs. Is this that?
Yeah, is part of that, yes. That includes that.
So we're drawing down the reserve by 3 million.
Yes. Having said that, we still have an ending fund balance of $6.5 million, and this is projected to be at the end of June 30th, 2025. But yes, we're using our reserves,
3
our
million.
savings.
Third, we're taking a third of it out. Okay.
I'm gonna move on into restricted. Restricted funds are monies that educational institutions receive with specific limitations on how we use them. What are some of those funds? Special education, child nutrition services, student transportation, and some professional development as well. You can see the sources and the amounts. And remember that I just talked about the 14.7 amount that was in parentheses here? You can see it reflected right there under contributions, under the restricted that is aligned to the special ed. Are we okay up to now? Sweet. Restricted general fund expenditures. Again, certificate salaries, classified salaries, employee benefits, supplies, for a total expenditures of $37.197 million. Again, we have a small deficit here between revenues, money coming in, and expenditures, money going out. Our beginning fund balance is a little over $567,000. Total revenues of over 36.6 million, minus the total expenditures of $37.197 million, with an ending fund balance of 0. Thank you, Lindsay Pellet. An amazing support system.
That we have a restricted general fund that's pretty low at the end, ending balance.
We're supposed to spend the money down.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's typical.
Yes. Here, this is the restricted and unrestricted. This is the 9-point-something million dollars and the 560-something million dollars, 560,000, and added together gives us a beginning fund balance for July 1st, 2024 of a little over $10.2 million. Total revenues is $98 million. Total expenditures 101. As you can see, the expenditures are greater than the revenues. That's what I call deficit spending. Having said that, just like the governor has a rainy day fund, we have our reserves, we have our kind of like our rainy day fund, our beginning fund balance to be able to cover that deficit. Does it make sense? Great. I'm sorry if I asked too much, if that makes sense. I just want to make sure that I take you through this story making sense. Maximum and minimum reserves. The minimum reserve for a school district our size is 3% for economic uncertainties. The maximum reserve is 10%. Presently, we have 9.8% including assigned monies. The reserve in the general fund is projected to be at $6.5 million, and the balance in the special reserve fund, also known as Fund 17, is $3.3 million. The road ahead. What's not in the May revision that could change in the final budget? So far, no deferrals and no ongoing reductions. However, this can change between now and the final 2024 enacted budget. The middle slide is full steam ahead when it comes to transitional kindergarten. The student to teacher ratio for this 24-25 school year is 12:1, is expected to be 10:1 in the 25-26 school year. And the last one, while some one-time funds like those for improving early learning and care programs for children with special needs are being taken back, the governor continues to state that there aren't any ongoing cuts to basic K through 12 education, which is a very good thing. The road ahead, our 3-year plan, learning recovery plan, is now complete. The state legislature will vet the governor's proposals and consider some of their own to balance the 24-25 budget. As state revenues continue to underperform, it is crucial, and I repeat that, it is very important that every single one of our decisions is fiscally responsible and fiscally sound. Planning for potential staffing / programs adjustments for the 25-26 school year begins now, and it has to be a very collaborative approach. We will definitely be in communication with our community, with our union partners, with all stakeholders to make sure that we move together through the power of the collective. Maximizing our revenues, it's of the utmost importance, and very important for me and for our superintendent is to ensure that we continue to monitor the Legislative Analyst Office for 2 reasons. One, their projections are conservative and they are nonpartisan. Next steps, legislation must pass the budget on June 15th. The Governor Board, for your consideration of adopting the LCAP and the budget at the June 27th meeting. June 30th is the deadline for the governor to sign the budget. July, August, we will revise FUESD's budget based on state's enacted budget and plus the books for the 23-24 school year. And September 12th, I'll be presenting you a revised budget with unaudited actuals. Before I conclude my presentation, as always, I want to thank my team, Lindsay Pillin, for being such an amazing support system, such a positive attitude, and she's there in a call for me now that I'm learning the budget side of the house. My superintendent for meeting with me and providing me with feedback, and my mentor, Susanna O'Connell, for being there for me as well. Thank you so much. This is the end of my presentation. I'm available for any questions that you might have. Yes, trustee.
Awesome presentation.
Thank you.
For walking us through all these interrelated and complex parts. For the unrestricted general fund revenues, you have $101,000 of local revenue. Where does that come from?
That comes some property taxes, some rentals of our facilities, and you said unrestricted?
Unrestricted, yep.
Yes. Let me just get there. You're talking about the 101, right?
Yes.
Well, that's property taxes, rentals, and donations.
Okay. So the 4.3 million in restricted, is that the same?
4.3 million in unrestricted. Is it 4.3 or 4.5?
I see 4.328 in local revenue for restricted.
Do you know what page number that is? Can you see?
After balancing the budget.
Local revenues. Local revenues has to do with property taxes.
Okay.
Yes.
So most of the property taxes are going to restricted general fund.
Not necessarily, but mostly.
4.3 million versus 100,000.
Yes.
So when folks talk about property taxes are funding our schools already, it's only 4 million out of 100.
Correct.
That's impressive. Very cool for the clarity here. The next question that I have is on the reserve slide, where we talk about the special reserve fund and the general fund. So Stevenson, correct me if I'm wrong, general fund is projected to be 6.5 million at the end of 2025.
Yes,
Okay, and then special reserve fund is projected to be 3.3 million
correct,
at the end of 2025.
correct.
So a total of almost 10 million in the reserve at the end of 2025.
Yes.
Our budget only allows us to have a 10% reserve.
Uncommitted, yes.
Cool. So even though we're drawing down some reserves, we're being very responsible and basically maxing out our goal.
Yes. To me, it's very, very important that we have a 3-year plan. For the next 3 years, we will be certifying as positive, meaning we have at least the minimum reserve for economic uncertainties.
Because we expect a couple more years, right?
Correct.
Not only that, at this time, as we're hearing, they're closing many, many restaurants and stores, I mean, in California. And just corporate, when it says corporate money, that is going to be humongous and it's still growing. And people are, I'm sure you're paying attention, and people are leaving still in droves because of the expense that it is to rent and mortgage and everything else in California.
Just the way the governor's slide represented right here, just the fact that we have persistent inflation, we have the highest unemployment rate in the nation, actually, and possible increase in taxes, that's making it a variable for a lot of people. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very detailed.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you for that. So moving forward, we have an action item. It is recommended the governing board approve resolutions number 29-23/24, payment order resolution number 30-23/24, designating authorized agents to sign commercial warrants, number 31-23/24, authorizing the replacement of warrants, and number 32-23/24, designating authorized agents to receive mail and pick up warrants at the County Office of Education. Do I have a motion?
So motion.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Trustee Lundin?
Aye.
Trustee McBride?
Aye.
Trustee Fish? Trustee Goldbeck? And I vote aye, so that motion passes. Human Resources, we have an action item, approval of recommended new job description. It is recommended the governing board approve the recommendation for a new bilingual social worker job description. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
Thank you. Any comments?
Just to jump in on a comment here, I wanted to share that this is not a new position, but highlights the importance of the bilingual designation. The social worker at some of our schools, and this is FSA in particular, it's extremely important that our social worker be able to communicate directly with parents and not through an interpreter. And so we didn't have a specific job description for bilingual social worker. We had it as a preference, but in this situation, it's absolutely essential that that the social worker be proficient.
And my question was, you simply added language that the person could do things in English and Spanish, but other than that, it's the same job description for any other social.
Correct. Correct.
Right, so I will call for the vote. Trustee Goldbeck? Aye. Trustee Fish? Aye. Trustee McBride?
Aye.
Trustee Lundin?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so that motion passes. And moving on to the consent agenda, there has been a request to pull item 6.8, contract Dennis Waller Kelly from the consent agenda. which we will bring for discussion now. Do we need to make a motion to get to discussion? No?
Sure. Motion to approve, and then we discuss, and then
Sure. I'll go ahead and do that. So do we have a motion to approve the contract?
I so move. I move that we approve the contract to Janice Willowbrook Kelly.
You have a second? Second? Okay, we can have a discussion.
So I would like to discuss, about considering getting other bids so that we have more options. I'd like us to have this discussion, put on for future agenda.
Well, perhaps the superintendent could explain, is DWK our only legal counsel, or do we use other legal counsels in this school year for other situations?
Okay, we actually use 3 legal counsels, DWK, F3, and 1 additional. Let me the name. This is for special education, Adams, Silva, and McNally. So we do currently have a relationship with 3 different.
Okay, and a follow-up question. Is DWK a firm that specializes in something with our district? And if so, what is it? And how long have they been working with us in that area?
So I to jump in on that one. I know that we've been using DWK pretty frequently this year for personnel and HR support. They supported us also with the transition from the trustee vacancy positions that we had as well. So with some board agenda development, ensuring Brown Act and compliance, questions related to that and training. So we've been using them pretty significantly for personnel issues. Team, are there other areas with departments that you'd like to highlight?
Sure, I can explain the need in human resources. And as a new person in this position, I've appreciated that when we were in negotiations, which I sat on negotiations on the Ed Services team as well. And since I came to Fallbrook, DWK sits on the negotiations table with us during negotiations, both on the classified and the certificated sides. I'll say that the long-standing understanding of our contracts and team members on both sides, to know the team members who participate, is helpful in our negotiations. As you know, we settled successfully. Additionally, I leaned on the expertise of that law firm when we entered into layoffs. So day 4 of myself being in this position, I was meeting with staff with layoff notices. And it is a very technical, time-sensitive, legally bound process. And we had the right support during that time. I mean, my team really came through with the right documentation, especially on the classified side, to know exactly what classifications our employees serve in, how long their tenure has been in each of those positions, because time in position is imperative. And then not just giving the notices, but then the legal follow-up, the board reports that were reflective of such, and then the follow-up of then reassigning due to seniority. So for those instances, the longstanding relationship and the understanding of the knowledge of who the players are has been helpful.
To add to my comments, so we don't have a limit, correct, of if we're just using mainly the one for the board, for the cabinet board, we could have multiple that we can go to, correct? And also, we don't pay out of pocket, we pay as we use each firm, correct?
Sure.
And so, again, I would like to look into possibly adding 1 or 2 other and getting bids from others.
We added F3, I think in this year. They've done work for us in the past before, significant work for us in the past before, and they've come back to work with us. I'd like to sort of address your concerns, and I think I might understand where you're coming from. I have been involved in, well, Mr. Pavel and I have been involved in two huge, potentially legal issues that involved our previous superintendent. The community followed it for a really long time, and there was an extremely high risk of a lawsuit coming out of either of those two situations, which would have been disastrous for our district to have to deal with. And I dealt with F3 in the first crisis, and it was resolved successfully, and then dealt with DWK for the second one. These were times where, similar to what you're describing about the very technical aspects of what goes into a layoff and how extremely important it is to get everything right, where suddenly you find yourself at risk. The same was true for our district during these times of crisis. And DWK was phenomenal. They were available to us weekdays, weekends. Their advice was always grounded firmly in the law. And
could you tell us who were you working, when you were working with them, was it with the connection that they had with, because there was a friendship connection with the settlement.
Oh gosh,
right?
yeah, no, we did not work with that attorney. We worked with DWK, and Jonathan Pearl was the attorney that I worked with, and there were issues with the other attorney, but I can't get into that. But what I can tell you is that we came to the edge of the cliff a number of times, and DWK really helped us avoid having to go to court. So that's my personal experience. I think there's great value in having a law firm that really understands our district, that's worked with our leadership and our people, that's proven to be effective, whether it's in a contract negotiation where there's huge amounts of money at risk. I know I have heard from the unions that there is great respect on both sides, even though everybody goes in with their own agenda. But I think that DWK had great respect for the unions, and it was mutual.
I'm a little confused because I thought I was here during the other the settlement, and what I had understood from the audience is that DWK recused himself because he was friends with the outgoing person that got the settlement. I believe that he had recused himself because of the friendship, if I remember correctly.
No, he was part of Ms. Mariucci was part of the union leadership, and I know that Mr. Pearl was our legal representative at the table. Obviously, we had a high-level staff at the table as well. I guess I say all that because I absolutely support going to bid on projects when you're starting something or when you're not happy with the people you're working with. We deserve to have the best. So if we don't have the best, it's time to make sure we do. But personally, having no experience with the law, and suddenly our board was thrown into two really critical situations and managed to get out of both of those without a lawsuit. It was because of the two firms that we worked with, and those are the two of the three firms you mentioned, F3.
And those were brought in back in, which ones were brought in 2021?
Oh gosh, let's see.
I did read something.
It must have been 2021. It was right after we were elected to the board, 5 weeks after we were elected to the board. So yes, it was 2021 was the first situation. Started in like, I think it was maybe the end of January, beginning of February.
And then we got it again in the fall of that same year.
So you're saying that you don't remember them recruiting themselves or himself, but I do remember him saying that it was because the friendship was real strong between him and
Who was the friendship with between?
John and the superintendent of the settlement.
Oh, heavens, no. No, that was not. That was not.
Superintendent had her own council.
Yeah.
May I make a
superintendent had her own
comment?
counsel.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
that he recruits himself, I thought, from the board, from making the decision on the board.
Well, he couldn't make.
Go ahead.
We have
Give
Armando
him-
make a comment.
May I make a comment? Would it be possible, I totally agree with you, trustee McBride, that it's always good to have options. But moving forward, we can absolutely, certainly look for additional councils. In the meantime, would it be possible to approve this item? And with the understanding that moving forward, we're gonna seek additional supports from council.
Agree.
Thank you. Any further comment? So I will call for a vote then. Trustee Goldbeck.
Aye.
Trustee Fish. Trustee McBride. Trustee Landine.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so that motion passes. Okay, so we can move on to our consent agenda. It is recommended the governing board approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments? And I will call for the vote. Trustee Landine?
Aye.
Trustee McBride?
Aye.
Trustee Fish? Trustee Goldbeck?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so the consent agenda passes. And that takes us to our adjournment at 7:42 p.m.
Thank you.